So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to another year of Educators Rising. If you're new to Educators Rising this year, we're glad to have you. Great that you've decided to join our network, and we're excited to be working with you. If you're returning and are just here for a refresher course, then welcome back. We got a lot of new exciting things happening this year. One of our biggest changes that I want to bring out at the very beginning is our dues structure has changed from last year. It was $10 per student. This year it is $15 per student. So just as you're thinking about your fundraising and budgeting, keep that in mind. Teacher leaders are always free in our organization, so feel free to sign up. If you have co-teacher leaders, we welcome them as well. We know that sometimes it takes a couple of people to manage a large chapter or even a small chapter getting started. We've added several new resources that we want to make sure that everyone is able to get their chapter started really easily. And so that's how we're going to start here with this webinar, just the basics, how to join. We know that it can be a little bit different if you work with other CTSOs and how you register. So we're here to help you and to make it as easy and seamless as possible. This is part of the awesome team that we have. Not everybody from the membership team is here, but you've got some experts here on the call. So I wanted to call out Nora Lodi, who is a perfect, fantastic resource for you to reach out to anytime you have questions. She mans our email, as well as Peyton Yancey, who is our membership director, manager. I'm the membership director. If you don't know, my name is Robin Montier. So that's part of our team. Michael Goldman is the one responsible for sending out all of our emails. If you don't know, we send out emails twice a month, and they go to everyone. They go to all students, all teacher leaders. So if you haven't added us to your contact list and information inbox, be sure and set us up as a contact to make sure that we don't wind up in your junk folder, because we know sometimes that happens. If you're not getting our emails at all, you can have us check your account to make sure you didn't accidentally unsubscribe. We've had that happen a few times, but also you may have to work with your IT department to make sure that they're allowing our emails to come through as well. The other way we can help communicate with you is we have a teacher leader Facebook group. Peyton is great at managing that and posting items from our newsletter, and then immediate things that come up that we think you need to be aware of. That's the go-to place, as well as getting help from other teacher leaders that are more experienced in the program. They love to share ideas. So that Facebook group is a select group. You do have to apply basically to be a part of it, and then Nora will approve you, or one of our team will approve you. And that way you can get access and stay directly connected, even if you maybe don't see our emails or your inbox looks like mine and it's hard to even find an email. So we're trying to reach out in many different ways. And Nora's even going to tell you about another way that we now have. So just wanted to welcome everyone to the webinar. Nora is going to take over and kind of be the lead on this webinar. And if you have questions as this is going along, be sure and put them in the question and answer section. And then Peyton will help facilitate the answers to those questions as we go along. So Nora, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Robin, and welcome everyone. I look forward to working with you in this new school year. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, can you see my screen? Okay. Yep. All right, so to get started with Educators Rising and starting a chapter, the first step is to direct yourself to our website, which is educatorsrising.org. Once you land on our website, you will see on the bottom right corner a new tool we have offered to help you get started. This is an AI chat box, which we are encouraging members to ask their questions to This is currently still something we're developing. So if you don't get all of the answers to your questions, don't freak out. You can still reach out to us, send us an email or give us a call. But we would love if you could try asking this chat box your generic Educators Rising questions to see if it can assist you before reaching out to us. It's a really quick way to get answers to your questions. So we're really encouraging you to do that. To join, if we look on the right-hand side menu, on the top, you'll see a join button. That is where you will want to go. And here on the join page, if we scroll down, on the left-hand side, you will see middle and high school division. If you scroll even more, here are some resources to help you and your students get registered. I would recommend downloading these PDFs and sharing them with your students along with this how to join video. We have a step-by-step document and video on what you and your students would need to do to get started. And because we want the students registering themselves to get familiar with the portal, especially if they're going to be competitors, we highly encourage them to do this process themselves. Right below these links is the actual join button. So we're going to go ahead and click that. All right. When you scroll down here, first you will see our different membership categories. Students have one, teacher leaders and admins have their own. If you look at the bottom, you will see two options. If you're a first-time member, please go ahead and select first-time member. If you already have an account, and you're a returning member, you don't need to create a new one. You can simply just select already have an account and log in to renew. For the sake of this webinar, I will be pretending like I'm a first-time student and signing up with Educators Rising. So we'll go ahead and proceed with that. Here, all of the required fields must be filled out. So I will go ahead and enter my name and email address. So I really want to emphasize that we ask the students to use their personal email addresses. And the reason being, when we send out emails, they can get blocked out if the students are using their school email addresses. And we really want to make sure everyone's up to date on deadlines and important information. So please make sure your students are using their personal email addresses. I'll go ahead and create a password. Hit create account. Here you can add some more additional links if you would like, but it's not required. All right, the most crucial step of the registration process is entering your organization. This is what will connect you as a teacher leader to your students in our portal, whether that be through invoices, the roster. It's connected through your guys' primary organization. We would like for all of you guys to be entering the same school name, which is the student's high school or middle school, to make sure that there are no discrepancies and you're not missing any students later on in the year. So for now, I'm just going to connect myself to a test school. And then I will be asked to choose one of the following. And if you do not see, as you can see right here, if you don't see an option for your school, don't worry about it. You can just send us an email to info@educatorsrising.org and I will get it added immediately. And at the bottom, you'll see an option to link my address to this organization. On the next page, the students will be asked to enter an address. And this is so our system can detect state dues and add a state membership. So if your students are not comfortable sharing their personal addresses, that is perfectly fine. Please just have them select this box that says link my address to this organization.
Before you move on, oops, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. On here, when you select your school, make sure you just kind of note down that number. That
Yep.
number will help in the search. And if they just enter that number, they won't get a whole list of schools. They'll only get that one school.
And if you don't know that number, you can just send me an email And I can send you the record number for your school, and all of your students can just use that to find the school. All right, next you'll be asked to enter phone number. Again, they can just put their school's phone number. I'm just gonna go with this and hit continue. And now it will lead you to the actual membership form. At the top, they will be asked to indicate what membership category they are. I'm a student, so I'm going to select that. And here they will be asked to fill out all required fields. If you are comfortable sharing your race with us, you can select one of these options. If not, you can select other. We request this data so we have a better understanding of the demographics of our membership. So again, if you're not comfortable, you can just select other. And again, it's going to ask you for the name of the high school, and I'm just going to go with test. And the students will need to enter their graduation date. And now we will hit save on the bottom right corner. And here is where the order actually populates. So you'll see it detected what state I'm in, and I'll just hit review and check out. Now, for folks who are a part of grant funded programs or you've purchased curriculum, you will have received a promo code for a certain number of student memberships in an email from the coordinator you worked with. That promo code is to be entered on the bottom right corner where you see promo code. For those of you who are not a part of a grant or haven't purchased curriculum and you don't have a code, no worries. All you'll need to select is checkout.
Before you move on this promo code, if you go over your limit, it's only going to allow the number of students that were included in your contract. For instance, if a curriculum purchase most of the time includes 20 unless you've purchased more. It doesn't always include state dues. So if your current contract includes national memberships and your state charges state dues, whereas in this case it's free, some states do charge state dues, you may still see a balance, and that will be the part that you'll need to have paid separately. Just because it wipes off your fee does not mean to stop. You need to completely go through the process or it will not finish the membership. So a lot of people are having some issues because they're into the promo code, but they don't go on past that page to complete the purchase process. So it's really critical that you do, even though it is free, complete the purchase process so that it shows up a membership on that student record.
Great point, Robin. So we're going to go ahead and hit checkout. Now, since most students don't pay for their own memberships, their school is paying for it, their district is paying for it, you will see the option Bill Me on the checkout page. Your student is not required to actually enter their credit card information. You just need to ask them, and this is already listed out in the PDF document and the YouTube tutorial I mentioned earlier. They will be asked to select Bill Me and then submit order. That is how your students will sign up and add their orders. Now I'm going to switch over to a teacher leader account to show you.
I want to pause just for a second on that because we're getting a lot of people that are not finishing the process when they get to the payment page. So if you are having your students paid for themselves and they don't have that credit card information ready, then if they don't complete the process at this time, entering that credit card information, it does not hold this anywhere for them. It kind of just, it incompletes the order. So therefore, it doesn't show them even with a balance due on their account. So just keep in mind that if they don't have the credit card payment available when they are going through this process, you may want to have them wait because once they abandon it, it's not going to show a membership on there for them to pay later.
So now I have logged out of that student's account and I have logged into a test teacher leader account to show you how this will look on your end. So now that I've logged in, on the left-hand side navigation menu, I'm going to select my profile. Here's my teacher leader account. You can see the memberships down here. And a very popular question we get is, how can I download my invoice? How can I see where my students have registered, who has registered? And that's what we're going to address really quickly. On the right-hand side of your profile page, you will see pay open balances and a balance underneath that. If your students are linked to your school and they've added their order, they will show here. So how do we see that? We hit make payment, hit next, select all of these boxes and hit search. Now I can see Nora has signed up, Stanley has signed up. If I'm missing someone, there are only two reasons why I don't see them here. They either didn't link to the same high school that I'm linked to, or they just did not complete the registration process and add their order. So before you reach out to us about why you don't see your student, I would verify with that student that they have completed those two steps. So now I'm going to go back, and let's say you're ready to submit payment and you need to submit an invoice. So the invoice button is right above there. Please note that anyone who registers is going to take 24 hours to show up there. So don't freak out. If John registered today and he's not showing up, wait until tomorrow and he should be there. If he's still not there, then the same things I said before. Either he didn't link to your school or he didn't add his order. I'm going to click on the invoice so you can see how this looks. And to download it, you'll just hit print and you can turn this into your office. The corresponding request with invoices is, how can I get a W-9? Which is the perfect segue into the next section I'll be covering, which is the teacher leader resources page. If you look on the left-hand side navigation menu, you will want to scroll until you see Educators Rising High School Resources. Please select that, and from the drop-down, you will see student resources and teacher leader resources. All paid members, students and teachers, get access to their respective resources pages, but you as a teacher leader have access to both. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed with teacher leader resources first. And as you can see, there's a lot to explore here. So I would, first of all, bookmark this page, because a lot of people don't know this page exists, and it's designed to make your life easier and to help you facilitate your chapter as smoothly as possible. So please go ahead and bookmark this page, because a lot of your questions and concerns can be answered from here. So just to quickly address the W-9, it lives right here. And if you can't find it, just hit Control F and type W-9 on this page, and you can immediately download it. I'm going to go back to the top, and I don't think we have enough time to get into the details of all of the different resources. So I would really recommend that you spend at least 15 minutes a week on this page, just clicking through, getting familiar, because it's a lot of information. So it's going to take some time to digest. So I would recommend doing that, but I will do a brief overview of everything today. I would also like to highlight at the top here, you'll see a bunch of different documents. I would like if you guys could bookmark and save this dates to know document. It's pretty crucial to knowing all the important deadlines and dates throughout the school year. So we have pinned that at the top, so it's easiest for you. All right. A very popular question we get, once your students are paid, where can I find my membership roster? That is the first section on this page, and you can just access it by hitting go to list and going to view active students. Please note, from the moment you pay, it takes 24 hours for those students to show here, so don't freak out if they don't immediately show. check in tomorrow, and they should be there. So this is where your active membership roster exists. You can also download a certificate for your students to enter their names and, just so they can promote their dedication to this organization. Below is a chapter resources section, and you will see that we have a bunch of different things under here. Whether you're a new teacher or a returning teacher, I would highly advise checking out the teacher leader orientation slide deck and the welcome guide. Our information gets updated every year, things change. This is a great place to start. If you want to know A to Z about our program, what it entails, I would definitely start here. Then you'll find a bunch of different activities for monthly resources. You are not required to do any of these. You can manage your chapter the way you wish. We just provide these resources for you to utilize and promote more engagement across your students. A lot of teachers who are new and want to promote Educators Rising in their schools, we got you. We got posters, postcards, flyers, even chapter recruitment tips to make promoting your chapter easier. We get lots of questions about funding, people having difficulty funding their programs. We have a lot of resources and tips for you regarding that as well. Logos and templates, if you would like to use our logo, if you want to provide a certificate of excellence to one of your chapter members, there's a bunch of cool stuff, even sample meeting agendas, all for you to use as you wish. And you'll see right here, there's a link to the store. Our merchandise is really popular at our national conference, specifically the Stanley Cup. It sold out pretty fast. So if any of you guys want to rock our merchandise and represent, you can do so as well. Then there's an curriculum and resources and micro-credentials section. If you're interested in our curriculum, you can learn more there. There's a National Signing Day section. We have a National Signing Day that takes place May 6th. We offer template certificates, Instagram templates, and a hashtag you can use to be featured on our social media. Just another way to get your students engaged. Educators Rising Week. We have an Educators Rising Week that is held February 3rd through 7th this next year. And we have a breakdown, a day-by-day breakdown of how you can prep your chapter for it, some printables you can use to help, participate in the Educators Rising Week. So that is there for you to explore as well. Now, the most popular and important section, I would say, is the National Conference and Competitions Resources. As you guys know, we have a national conference, and this year it's taking place June 26th through 29th. And a very common question is, how can I access competition guidelines? How can I see rubrics? How can I learn more? This is exactly where you want to go. If you're new, we have a guide for teacher leaders for competitions. And then to actually see the guidelines, there's a separate page. Couple things to note here. There's a checklist to make sure that you and your students are not missing any steps. There's an overview video section of each competition as well. Then below that, there's an overview PowerPoint and an overview video we hosted explaining the competition process. So all of these resources, I would definitely check out if you're new and you want to know how to get your students involved. And for both new and returning teacher leaders, please, please, please visit this document that basically summarizes the changes to our competitions this year. We have changed some things and it's important to note. So please do check that out. Sorry, I'm just going to click out of this. All right. And now finally are the guidelines. You will see that all of the competitions and guidelines are broken down by division. And if you click on any one of these, you can download the guideline. When competition applications open, this is where your students will have to go to apply to that competition. You will not see this right now, but when competition applications open in the spring, Next to each one of these will be an apply button. Your students have access to this exact page on the student resources page, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But the reason why we want the students registering themselves, getting familiar with the platform, is because if they're competing, this is where they will need to go to apply, and it's just best that they're comfortable with this membership portal. Going back, again, there's a W-9 right below there. Scholarship resources. If you would like to print a flyer and promote this opportunity for your students in your classroom, we have something for that. And then to actually learn about the eligibility for the scholarship, you can click here. The student resources page is linked on the teacher leader resources page as well. So you can access it from here or from the side navigation menu. And teacher leader training webinars. This webinar is being recorded. You will be emailed a link to this. We will have another webinar in the spring about competitions. Both of those webinars will be linked here for your convenience. Anytime you want to access that, you can do so on the teacher leader resources page. And the last thing we have linked here are our Educators Rising standards. If you would like to learn more about that, you can do so. I'm going to jump right from here into the student resources. It's not too different from the teacher leader resources page, but it does have some cool features specific for our students. They can download a certificate themselves. They have access to cool articles and videos, such as our Educator of Excellence podcast, Get Inspired videos, Get Prepared hot topic articles, and over 60 videos of reflective commentaries of the National Board Certified Teachers in Action, which is really cool. They also get information about the Ed Rising Week, and we're also very excited to announce that students and teacher leaders now have an exclusive version of the PDK Kappan magazine. So they can view current and past issues as well through here. We offer leadership opportunities for our students, such as the Student Officer Program and the National Ambassador Program. If your students are interested, they can click right here, learn all about the responsibilities, the eligibility, and the timeline for the election process. The same as for the ambassadors. They can just hit learn more. They have access to the monthly discussion questions that are also referenced on your page. And there's a student speak up questions section. So each month in our Kappan magazine, we're going to feature a column that's devoted to sharing student voices. So anyone who's an active level member can submit their answers to each month's questions and can have the possibility of that being featured in our national magazine. Just another opportunity for your students to get excited and engaged with the program. There's also monthly service projects. And if your chapter chooses to do any, please do share photos with us and hashtag EdRising so you can be featured on our Instagram. And you can view the service projects right here, they're linked. Here is the National Conference and Competition section. Your students, if they're competing, they will go to the Student Resources section, hit this button. Let's pretend I'm applying to the Children's Literature K-3 competition. There would be an apply button here, and that's what I would click to apply to my competition. PDK poll resources, they have access to our polls that has an archive containing over 50 years of data on public opinion of public schools. Very informative for them to explore. Scholarships, they have direct access to the scholarship page, and they can learn more about all of that as well. Financial aid resources and budgeting and fundraising ideas. We have loads of tips and ideas for your students. We would highly encourage them to take advantage of these opportunities and this information. Educators Rising Zoom background. If your chapter is holding any Zoom meetings, you guys can download a Zoom background with the Educators Rising theme, just so it looks more professional. They have information about the National Signing Day, National Honor Society. So we have a National Honor Society program that opens in February and closes in May. Anyone who's an active level member and has a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or above can apply. So they can get a certificate, they can wear honor cords at their graduation. It's a really cool opportunity. They also get mentioned in the National Conference Program book. So if your students are interested in that, they can click there. We have a 240 tutoring teacher certification exam assistance program. So we are really excited to announce that we've partnered with 240 tutoring, and but through this partnership, we can give our members a 50% discount on test prep services. So I would ask your students to take advantage of this opportunity too. And this is basically gonna help them prepare for passing any praxis or state-specific exams. And at the bottom, you will see a link that they can select if they're interested in completing micro-credentials. There is a separate fee for this, so just beware, this is not free.
Okay, I want to stop right there and just add a little information on this. It is only a fee if you want it professionally scored and they actually get the digital badge. These have become really great end of year assessment pieces that students can work on throughout the year. They do go in the order, believe it or not, in alphabetical order there. They start with anti-biased instruction, and it has all of the requirements and credentials and everything on this document itself. So if you as a teacher want to make this assignment and you grade it, there's no fee for that part. There's only if you want to have it professionally graded. So we have a lot of schools that have started incorporating this in. Some schools are also working to have these incorporated in to a dual credit program. And if they complete these, then they get credit at a university. I know that's been done in a couple schools in Maryland, and I just heard the other day that another university is looking to do that. So there's different ways to use these that don't include a fee. And the same way with the competitions. Even if your student isn't planning on going to nationals, or you guys, just you want to do it at a state level or whatever, they're great performance-based activities. And you should always keep that in mind. They can compete in their own district or in their own school, and you can have local faculty be scoring them because the rubric and everything is there. So there's different ways to think about using some of these resources that are available. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that was a great point. And then the last resource on their page is a link to the store. So that covers registration, teacher leader resources, and student resources. I'd be happy to revisit anything if there's anything in the chat.
I wanted to kind of give you another thing. Can I take the micro-credentials course? Yes, absolutely. Teachers can take that micro-credential course as well. And many schools are starting to use that even with their substitute teachers, having them go through the micro-credentials courses. So there's a lot of different ways that the micro-credentials are being used, and feel free to use them any way that you see fit. Because you're on this call, I'm going to give you a little insight to a new resource we have coming online, hopefully within the next month or so. There's some technical logistics we are working out, but we now have a partnership with the Teaching Channel, and our members are going to be able to access the Teaching Channel video library at no fee. So once they're signed up as a member, they're going to get full access to this. So be watching for a rollout of that probably within the next month or so. Just one of the many things we have in the hopper right now. I can't say any more about any of the other ones, but we are constantly working with partners to build out this program and give you and your students even more resources. So definitely be checking back to this page. As Nora said, bookmark this page. If you're looking for the link to join the Facebook group, that's under the tips for teachers.
I forgot to mention that. I was just going to say, so if you look under tips for the chapter resources and you go to tips for teacher leaders, please join our Facebook group if you haven't already. It's an awesome network of teacher leaders across the country. And when state conferences or the national conference comes around, they share a bunch of amazing tips. We have some seasoned veterans on there who know exactly what your students should be packing, things to look out for. So if you want a community within the Educators Rising organization, it's a great place to go. There's also teacher leader tips, Perkins Act guidance. There's a free 60-minute online micro course on teacher preparation as well. If you're looking for new ways to help your students, build knowledge to become amazing educators, this is a great resource for you as a teacher leader.
Well, Nora has done a fantastic job hitting the highlights. Obviously, we could spend hours diving into each of these resources. I hope that you do take the time. A lot of people are shocked once they see how many resources are actually available. We know our site could be a little more user-friendly, but once you kind of get the hang of it, there's a lot of information there to help you with the chapter, particularly the program of work. Can you go to the teacher leader resources again and click on that program of work?
Oh, funding your program?
No, it's under activities. A new resource that we had been asked to create because some CTE programs require it is the program of work calendar. If you go to that very first link, we created a sample of what you might do in your class or club, whichever you might have, and how those connect to items that are needed for CTE. So what is the social activity versus professional development versus public relations? This gets the students a lot of exposure to all these different leadership opportunities, keeping them connected with the industry, helping them to learn more about the industry. We have those monthly guided discussion questions. So those are referenced here. So this is a good sample. If you're like just starting out, I have no clue as to what I should be doing in each one of my meetings. You can incorporate this into a class or incorporate it into an after school club. Talks about fundraising, how to participate in our events. So there's just a lot of information there in that one document to get you up and running. Do we have any more questions, Peyton?
We were getting a few. I had a question about, getting this webinar sent to us and getting this recording sent to us, and I did answer it so everyone could see, but you will, since you registered for this webinar, get an email link with this recording, but it will also probably be available in your student resource or your teacher leader resources section, so you can view it there too. But if you have any other questions, do feel free to put them in the Q&A section. If you need a refresher on something we went over, or you'd like to touch base on something one more time, we're happy to do that now. We have 20 minutes before our call time's over for this, so please feel free to put any questions and concerns in the chat, and we'll address them either,
I see there's a question there for Kara, from Kara. Just going back to the start of our call, if you might have missed that, if you have questions about people's accounts, trying to figure out where a student is in your list, always email info@educatorsrising.org. That will get to our whole team, and whoever's available first will jump on that call. I don't want it to sound like Nora's the only person you can reach out to. And if she may be on vacation or something, I would hate for you to have her email and not be able to get in contact with someone. So if you can just email info@educatorsrising.org, we will gladly hop on and try to figure it out. Do give us a little bit of time because we may need to do some investigation before we get back to you. Give us as much information as possible. We get these emails all the time. I have a student that's not showing up. It's not real helpful. We need to know what that student's name is so we can do our investigative work. So please be sure to provide as much information as possible when you're emailing info, and we'll take a look at it.
wanted to quickly show what the table of contents looks like for the welcome guide, just so you guys can see how much information is in here.
Yeah, and particularly scroll down to the appendix on page 29. A lot of people don't realize this document is here, as we've recently found out, or they don't go all the way through. So if you're looking for sample chapter bylaws, we have them. They're in the appendix. Scrolling down, I think we've even put the program of work in this document so that you can kind of have everything in one place. There's how to have a meeting, how to do minutes from the meeting. There's all these samples already available.
Yeah.
There's the program of work calendar. So you can print this document. We are looking to kind of enhance this document even more, to put more resources in here, like the fundraising items and things like that. So just wanted you to know that this document is here. It's a great resource for any new teacher, but also if you're a returning teacher, you may not have known that this information was here. But just wanted to let you see that. See some more questions coming in. Are we getting those answering? Yeah, if you're having trouble connecting, be sure and email info@educatorsrising.org and we'll, or you can log into your account probably within the next couple of days, and this webinar will be posted there as well.
Yeah, so I see that question. It was, had trouble getting in the webinar. Like I said earlier, you will be getting a email with the link of this once it's ended, or once we have time to kind of get it cleaned up and send that to you. Since you registered for this webinar, it'll be automatically sent. And like Robin said, it will be posted in the next few days, likely next week in your teacher leader resources section.
I see there's a question here. What do state representatives do? So our state coordinators manage everything at the state level. So they may be providing other resources, other training, state specific. I know that most of our states are trying to incorporate, if they haven't already, a state officer program. And so they will do local teacher leadership training. They will do state officer training. Most states now hold state conferences. So they're in charge of putting together that state conference and supporting the chapters, helping them to, navigate our platform. They also help, collect the dues for the state, and they use those for other projects that are state funded projects. So hopefully that answered your question. I know Libby's on the call, so Libby might be able to. Libby's raised her hand. I don't know if we can allow Libby to talk though. Michael, can we?
Yeah, I can promote her to a panelist. Give me a
Can
second.
you do that just for a minute? Because she's raised her hand and she can speak to life as a Maryland state coordinator.
Hi, thank you. My question was already answered, so thank you. I had my hand raised, but I put it in the chat.
Okay. You want to tell everybody what it's like to be a state coordinator and what you do?
Sure. Well, you covered a lot of it. I meet with my teacher leaders monthly, to give them resources, to guide them, to get them in contact with other teacher leaders who may also have a little more experience than them. I meet with, whenever a teacher is just starting out a chapter, I Zoom with them individually, which is something I'm actually trying to get away from by using all of your wonderful webinars instead. But I get them started. I run all of the competitions for the state. So they have to make the top 10 at the state level in order to go to nationals. So I run all of the competitions. I do the state conference. I have my fabulous state officers that I do trainings, like Robin said, during the summer. And then we do lots of leadership development work with them throughout the year. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We just do all the national stuff, but at the state level.
Thank you, Libby. Appreciate
Sure.
it. Anybody else have any questions?
There was a question in the chat. I am responding. via type right now, but I'll also say this. We have this question come up every so often. It's about connecting yourself to your schools. I had a question saying that they connected themselves to their school, but it's showing that it's located in a different state. Please note, we do have a lot of schools in our system. So sometimes your names, although they could be unique, can repeat since we all are all across the US. So when you're having your students add those schools and when you yourself are adding those schools, be sure that you have the correct one added. And if you don't, you can always reach out to us to make sure that your school is in our system and we can add that for you. And then provide you with the ID number so you can get connected correctly and then share that out with your students.
Yeah, so usually when you're signing up, when she was going through that, it had the number of the school, the name of the school, and then in the after that, it'll have the state. So be watching for that. But if you know that you're signed up with the wrong one or you have students signed up with the wrong one, be sure and send us an email with the details of the student's name and what school they should be signed up with, or if it's you. ID numbers work great. So if you can send us their ID number, that would be helpful and we can get that fixed for you.
Yeah, and Nor, I know you're not sharing the screen anymore and we're not live, but if really maybe really quickly you could show someone how they could add the school to their after the fact. Because I know that question comes up a lot for teachers, so students will go through the process, they'll even add their bill, but again, they won't be showing up on there. So you'll probably have to remove the test school first, but once you remove the test school, you can kind of show them how to add the organization, because it will just be a little button on the
show
side.
You can add a second one.
Yeah, so if you go back to the profile, and you can always come back to your profile from the left-hand side. You want to scroll this menu until you see organizations. And right there, link me to an organization. If you know the record number, like Robin was saying earlier, that's even better. But if you don't, let me just say North High School. I hit search. I get all these options. So that's why it's best to really try to search by the record number, especially if you have a school name that's like pretty generic, like North High School. But yes, this is where you would go to add an organization to your account.
Now, if your organization isn't listed, your school's not listed for some reason, let us know. Give us the school name and the address. We can add that in for you so that it's ready when your students go to sign up. The other thing I will say that because this database was combined with multiple databases, we still have some duplicate schools in there. So if you see 3 schools in your state, and you know that they're duplicate, you can send us an email and we can get those cleaned up so that you're only seeing one school. We're doing the best we can on our end to try to get those cleaned up and merged together, but it does take a little bit of work. So if you're seeing it and you want us to fix that, we're happy to do that. One thing to note, that state membership, when it's being added, is being added based on the address. So if your student signed up with the wrong school in the wrong state, there could be an additional charge if the state actually does charge dues and they weren't charged dues in the beginning. So we have to change the state membership when we change an address that involves the state. Someone else asked, state leadership training is state by state. So if you don't have any yet in Wyoming, we may be able to see if we can partner you up with a neighboring state when they're doing it. Most teacher leader trainings are done in the summer, but we'll see, if we have a neighboring state that might be able to do it. The other question that is remaining in there is, if you're a teacher leader and you go to the organizations tab, you may see individuals that are and click manage my organization. You may see individuals linked here that are expired or whatever. You don't need to worry about managing those. The place you're going to find your current members is through the teacher leader resource section. we cannot take off the lapsed people from the way they're connected through the organization tab. So always go through your chapter roster and do not worry about the inactive people that you're seeing connected. I hope that answered the question. If not, feel free to put another one in the chat to clarify a little bit more, but I think I understood what you were saying. Any other questions? Well, thank you for attending. As you know, we will be recording this. We'll post it in the teacher leader section, but always know that the team is here to help and support you in any way you need. So if you've got questions about students or how to join, or you're just really confused and frustrated, we're here to help. So send us a message through email. You can use the online chat now to be able to find answers even after hours, which is a big enhancement. And we thank Nora for her work on getting that up and running for this year. And definitely give us a call too. If you need to schedule a call, send us an email and say, hey, I'd just like to schedule a call so we can walk through this on Zoom. We're happy to do that. We're here to support you because you guys are supporting the next generation.